Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2 in Multimedia. I'm Realiza Basco and I'm from Team Red. And before we start our discussion, we first have our short activity. So image guessing. Look at pictures and find out what the images is all about. So I'll give you a minute to guess the image. So guess it now. Okay, time's up. Um, the correct answer for this is introduction of text or introduction to text in multimedia, which is in module 2. If you have correct answer, then good job. And if you don't, then better luck next time. In this lesson 1, the text introduction, we'll understand the rule of text in multimedia and use multimedia to communicate complex ideas clearly and recognize the flexibility of text as a communication tool. So, what is text? Text is an important component used in multimedia applications. They are characteristics that are used to create words, sentence, and paragraph. Text alone provides just one source of information. Yet, text is good at providing basic information. So, what do you mean this? Ano sa tingin nyo yung ibig sabihin ng description? From the word text alone provides just one source of information. This means na text is just one way or share information, of course, since it's text nga, di ba? But it's not the only way. Kasi in multimedia, like applications are other sources of information like the images, audio, video, and animations, which can provide additional details or enhance the message, di ba? If text lang, sa multimedia, we have 5 elements na mas deliver ng mga better information. And text, it is the basic form of written communication. Of course, because it is the most widely used and flexible means of communication. Just like now, I'm discussing and you're reading the PowerPoint, diba? So I'm providing you already the information of what I am discussing, diba? So in the history of human civilization, it is the first way of communication is through text and symbols. It began with meaningful marks which were scraped into mud tablets and left to harden under the sun so that it can dry and become readable. So dati, nung sinaunang panahon when technology isn't yet created o wala pang technology, of course, people noon is, ang ginagawa nila is yung sa putek is pinapadry nila yon, then sila ng text like di ba, basa pa yung putik, then what do you call that? Magte-trace sila ng text, then dry nila sa sun. Then, after na dry nun sa sun, of course, it will be readable. At yun na yung pinapakita nila sa ibang mamamayan or the people there. Para yun yung way nila to inform people of they want to say. Like that. So, text have the potential to substitute visuals or sound in the presentation of a true interpretation of a message based on the fact that their presentation will never confuse the human visual system. So, do you guys believe this na visual is better interpreted than text, or text is better interpreted than visual? Well, as for me, it's actually depends on the situation, di ba? Kasi some text might confusing or not readable, yung hindi na, although it's readable, but we couldn't understand clearly, di ba? Some visuals naman is, hindi siya agad maintindihan without the text, 'di ba? So, their meaning cannot be explicitly interpreted by the message that they are created to communicate. However, when it comes to expressing information in text, it has a general meaning and is interpreted in a general way. The strength and basis of knowledge is therefore the capacity to read and write. So, while text can deliver message, it often has a broad general meaning. Words don't always capture every little detail or feeling, and they rely on the reader's ability to interpret them. Of course, 'di ba? Kung nagbabasa tayo, it's not just about the text. It's about how we create those, or like for example, reading a Wattpad, 'di ba? Hindi lang naman 'yan about text lang. Of course, you use your mind to visualize those things na nababasa mo doon sa binabasa mo. So that's it. So when we talk about the power of words, we're really talking about our ability to read and understand them. Being able to read and write is like unlocking the key to knowledge because it allows us to understand the world around us and in general but important way. So how text can be used effectively? Of course, in communicating data, customers' name and addresses, pricing information of products, diba? Explaining concepts and ideas, labels and buttons, icons and screens, captions and callouts for graphics, of course. These things are commonly na makita nato siya halos everyday. So why text is important? Text is a fundamental medium for communication. It conveys information, ideas, and emotions and plays a vital role in both written and multimedia content. Its presentation affects how easily and effectively the audience can understand the message. Of course, like what I said kanina, text is the widely communication na ato ang ginagamit since, of course, through text, text is the source of information. So, that's the end of our lesson 1. Later on, I'll give you analysis na kasabay na ng lesson 2. So, for our lesson 2, like what we did kanina, before we start our discussion, we'll still have our short activity. So, this activity is fill in the blank. So, I'll give you again a time, minute or 1 minute to guess the guess the answer. Okay. Okay, time's up. Okay, so for the answer of this activity is text elements. So in this lesson 2, we'll understand the different types of text elements, analyze the impact of font choices, and apply principles of typography. And since you guys answer it correctly naman, you'll have a bonus points for the analysis. So text technology focuses on creating letters, numbers, and special characters. It can also include symbols, icons, and mathematical characters like Greek characters. So, ano kaya yung mga characters, di ba? Ano kaya yun? So, text elements can be classified into 3 categories. First is the alphabet characters, A to Z, numbers 0 to 9, special characters, punctuation marks, signs, or symbols. We usually use this, di ba? Of course, when we're writing or we're reading, of course, ano ba yung kadalas nakikita natin, di ba? Alphabet characters, and when we've been studying math, of course, this element is usually, perminti mo na to ni siya makita, like always jud. Kay useful mo jud kay ni siya. And for the text elements used in multimedia are titles and headlines, what is it all about, menus, where to go, navigation, how to get there, content, and what you see when you get there. So, di ba, ang text dere is ginagamit siya of mo magyapon ka ganina. Tulad lang kanina. It's used in information, di ba? Or how we it's a guide. It's also giving us a guide to how you going to use this, ganon. And factors affecting the legibility of text, size. The size of the text determines that its readability. Larger text is generally easier to read from a distance, of course. Pag maggamit ta og size sa text, we don't usually use to katong mga kaning small size na pod na text, kaya of course dili naman nato na siya mabasa. Of course, when we make presentation, di ba, dapat katong tama-tama lang or medyo dakwa na to ang size sa atong text kaya para mabasa sa atong audience. And background and foreground, the color or the contrast between the background and the text, color influences visibility and readability. So, when we use a color, of course, dapat kuan pod siya or mobagay pod siya kay para pod mabasa pod ang atong gisulat or gibutang nato dito nga text, dili siya sakit sa mata, readable siya para masabtan ang ato ang gusto ipasabot sa ato ang audience. And the style refers to the typeface or font used. Different fonts can create varying impacts in terms of tone and readability. Of course, pareho ra ni siya gaganina sa size and pag pangit po ang imuhang font, of course, di po siya mabasa. So, we need to use the right font when we make a presentation or anything kaya para readable siya. And leading, the space between lines of text originally adjusted using strips of lead in traditional printing etiquette. Leading improves readability by creating sufficient wall space between lines. Of course, same lang Japon kaganina, no? Explanations. If we want the audience to understand, so we have to choose the right size, color, style, and leading. So here, the technology of font effects and bringing viewers' attention to content case, upper and lower case letters. Of course, we should know how to, or when we use bold or upper case letters and bold, italic, and underline. So bold text is often used to highlight important informations, headings, or key terms. It adds visual weight, making the text stand out from regular text. Of course, ang italic naman, typically it is used to emphasize certain words or indicate like titles of works, ganon, or add subtitle emphasize to a word or phrase without making it prominent as bold text. And the last one naman is the underlined. Diba? It is often used to highlight text or emphasize in like web designs. Underlining, it is also commonly used for hyperlinks, indicating clickable text that directs user to other content, of course. And for here, the subscript and the superscript. Subscript, it appears slightly below the baseline of the normal text and usually smaller. It is commonly used in chemical formulas, or in mathematical expressions to denote, or like sa mga notations, of course, mo na siya. Ang subscripts naman, it's often used, same lang Japon siya kaganina. It's still the same. It is used in mathematical exponents. And for the embossed or shadow, embossed is an object or text to look raised or pressed into a surface, giving it a three-dimensional look. It creates the illusions of light hitting the object from a certain angle, which result in highlights and shadows along the edges. So, no, it's often used in buttons are icons to give a tactile feel. So the shadow naman, of course, we usually use shadows, especially when we're editing, because a shadow effect adds a darker area behind or below an object, diba? Making it appear as though it is a floating or standing out from the background, or it can give a sense of depth and help emphasize an element by making it pop visually. Drop shadows are common in text image designs, of course. And the last one is the strike through, which is it's commonly used to shadow revisions, corrections, or text that is no longer applicable but still visible for the content. Example ani is like editing drafts or pricing changes, diba? If wala na siya, nag-change na ta, so we just use the strike through. And for the double strike through is this add two horizontal lines. We could see naman sa image, it's less common than the single strike through, diba? And may be used in specific contents where text emphasis is needed to indicate that the text is fully invalid or obsolete. So, it's not used na. Wala na talaga. Yung double strike through. So that's their difference, no? And I think that's it. We're now done with our lesson 1 and lesson 2. And I hope you guys understand what I've just discussed. And please answer this analysis. We have 2 analyses from lesson 1 and lesson 2. And that's all for today. Thank you. Bye.